Hey everybody, clearing. Okay, so today, first off, I do have 3 spots for the crystal dig coming up in middle of September. I have a few people interested, but no confirmations for one of the days yet. So there's still a chance to get in there. It does have a little bit of a price tag, but it's a bucket list worthy event, and I would love to see you there and hang out and, all that. So yes, if you've been on the fence about that, it's time to squeak in and get in contact. You can put a request for my email in the comments below, and I will give that to you so that you can get the information and potentially come and do something that's going to be a lifetime memory. We're going to be in climbing ropes, there's a hot tub, gourmet food, cabins to sleep in. It is rustic. There is a quite vertical trail to hike in. So it's not going to be for everyone, but if that appeals to you, it's going to be really fun. Okay, so that's the first thing. I did open up just a couple more sessions. If you want to get a session, I just opened up the 15th of September. So go ahead and grab a session there. I will be opening up more sessions towards the end of September and into October over the next little while. I just don't know what those dates are going to look like yet. All right, so let's get into this Divine Feminine reading. What do the Divine Feminines need to know at this time? Thank you, Divine Creator, for bringing through the perfect point of consideration for the Divine Feminines watching today. What is the tone to set for this reading? Okay, we are getting Flower of Feeling, Compassion, Emotional Awakening, and Forgiveness. Yeah, so Divine Feminine, there is another layer of freedom, happiness coming in, and freedom, happiness is yours, I'm just hearing. Let's get one more card. What can we see for compassion, openness? So it's in the reverse. A lot of Divine Feminines are in the process of opening, of forgiving, of letting go and truly leaving the past in the past so that the vision isn't clouded going forward. This is a really practical, grounded desire to really be authentic, not ahead of oneself, not filtering from the past, just being sincere. The maximum amount of pleasure, joy can be accessed when we are in allowance of what is, because we're not pretending. Anytime we have a disconnect between head and heart, that zaps the energy and it's not as pure. Even if it's wishful thinking and we want to believe that something is available to us and true, it's just not. If there is that incongruent energy. So Divine Feminines, it is a gift to yourself to completely come into 0 point and not hanging on to things that haven't actually been up to standard, and not making more of a potential that you sense if it's not actually available. So this is all doing yourself a favor, so to speak, by coming into 0 point. You can't wishful think somebody into complying with what you believe might be an appropriate outcome. You will find more joy in every moment when you accept what actually is and you engage with what is on the level that is available. And that is also where things can grow, if they're meant to, organically, instead of living in the future or living in the past. It's about coming into the present moment. Amazing. Okay, so Divine Feminines. I'm going to speak to Divine Feminines here because I know that about 85% of my viewership is Divine Feminine. For those Divine Masculines watching, you are so welcome here, and you will likely get a really great look at where your Divine Feminine is at. but I am going to speak primarily to the divine feminines. I'm going to pull some cards on where the divine feminines are on the journey, what they're consciously thinking, feeling, etc. And then I'm going to get some advice for you divine feminines based on that, and I'm going to get advice for divine masculines who might be watching. Okay, so thank you, divine creator. What is it we can see for the divine feminines coming through? What are the divine feminines thinking of the connection at this time, feeling on the heart space? Wishing and manifesting. What are the divine feminine's actions at this time towards union, either directly or inadvertently? What is the biggest challenge for the feminines collective? I got a cat hair on my nose. The cat hair is the biggest challenge for this one. What is the solution for that challenge? Where is the energy going in the near future? The divine feminine energy going, and what can we see for advice for the divine feminines and the divine masculines in each in turn, based on what's happening in this reading? Okay, I've got them all here. So on the conscious mind, divine feminines, 5 of Cups and mystery, dark matter. So this is going into the unknown, letting go of the past. Exactly, that's the motion of forgiveness. Forgiveness, you know, we don't need the other person to have closure. We just need to look at it through our own accountability. If we've done the best that we can, that's all that can, you know, that's the best thing we can use it for. It's truly up to the other person's free will to navigate their side of the energy the way that they need to. So this is all talking about the personal accountability, that nobody owes us anything, that we are whole on our own. And this is about looking at the past for the lessons that it showed, not for the preferences that we still hope will happen, but for what actually was, for the dynamic, for the contribution of the two. This is a time to look at, how did you allow certain things into your life? How did you bring certain blessings that were shown into your reality? What can you see from the histories? Because this is a letting go and beginning to move into the future. So for many that have been following my readings for a couple of years, this may not feel like a fresh and present energy, but there is another layer of it so that you can completely be open to what is for you now and what is coming. I'm getting a sense that there are a lot of brand new DFs waking up to the journey and this level of clearing of the past. So trust your heart. Your heart knows the way to do this. Sink into what's going on and really seek relief. I want to say higher guided relief from certain triggers and certain things that are still confusing to you about dynamics and people's intentions and all of that. The big point here is to understand that you are on track for love and that cycles of energies happen. Trust the mystery. You're kind of going into uncharted territory here, and it's okay that it's not known. This is bringing you into the present moment, divine feminines, and allowing for you to trust your own heart as you go into uncharted territory, so that you don't say yes if it's not 100% yes. And that can be counterintuitive if you've been used to people pleasing and putting others first and giving too much. This is about being completely in alignment with self first, and that's not selfish. That is the most stable way. I'm going to give the oxygen mask analogy. Put your own oxygen mask on first before you put somebody else's. So what is the advice for the divine feminines? Enlightenment is coming. Look at these twins playing in the sun. So you are going to see some things if you sincerely take accountability for your part of the bargain, your half of the history here. It's going to show how you were in this together. So literally, instead of focusing on what the other person did or didn't do or what happened, really search your heart for your contribution, and it's going to illuminate everything. When you can see and know yourself that way, it will really shed light on the dynamic as far as what the other person's contribution was. And Divine Masculines watching, autonomy. So just take heart, Divine Masculines. Your Divine Feminine is learning these lessons in autonomy, personal accountability, and seeing their contribution to the dynamic. So keep doing that solo motion that removes guilt and shame from having to prematurely come forward into a dynamic that isn't fully ready in the divine sense. But there is so much assurance here, everybody. It is really it's tender, beautiful, extraordinary work, and it is happening. What are the Divine Feminines feeling on the heart space? Ooh, a Tower and fluidity, outer core. So I just heard there's a severing of the need for the Divine Masculine to be a certain way. Divine Feminines, you are finally realizing you can't drag your Divine Masculine kicking and screaming, even subtly, even tiny little bits of this 1111, from what was between you to the future. You have to totally let go and go with the flow. And this is on the heart space like never before. So this openness, forgiveness that you're doing on the conscious mind, your heart has already told you that there must be this disconnect and autonomy happen. And that is allowing actually your mind to process. So the way it goes is we have a energetic initial sensation, sense, feeling, intuition, and then our mind processes it, and then the physical plays it out. So this is the originating energy to all of the things that are coming up for this new level of forgiveness and openness that you're about to go into in uncharted territory. This is the heart space that's allowing for that. So just remember, it's really your heart first, and then your mind, and then the physical. Allow this to go with the flow and trust the process. We are hardwired for that to be the case. And so if your heart feels a certain way, your thoughts will align with it eventually, if you allow that. And then the material realm will follow suit. But trust your heart and do the things accordingly in alignment with your heart. Remember though, it's not about controlling another person or an outcome. It's about really in every moment affirming what your heart is actually feeling about each decision, about each thought, and being honest with yourself on that level. What is this doing for the feminines? The Hanged Man. This is the nourishment that you're giving to self. This is the truth of this journey, is that it is up to you. It is that simple. You are the creator of your reality based on your peace in every given moment, your alignment. And so this is, we don't get to the outcome by forcing a particular outcome or thinking that outcome into being. We get to it by allowing it to show us more about what feels like good and right and true by our hearts, and making all of our decisions without knowing how the big picture will unfold, based on that feeling of knowing what our hearts are saying about any given decision. So this is the way to get where you're going, is be in alignment with every little decision, and it will be more marvelous than you have ever imagined, because you won't have regrets, is really it. And the energy can be more pure. You're not throwing muddy, convoluted energy on top of things. Whenever you make a decision against your heart or your gut instinct, you're gonna have backtracking to have to do. You're gonna learn a tough lesson. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to have a result that won't feel as convenient as if you just go towards what your heart is saying. But we all learn, and I'll be the first to say that I have done some pretty renegade things, and rebellious things flat out because I've wanted to know for myself. And when I've done that, I do want to say, I prayed and asked, what does my connection to source, what does the divine think of that when I know one thing feels like the straight and narrow and another thing feels like rebellion, and I still do that other thing? The divine says, I love you so much, I'm here no matter what. Whenever you come back, I'm here. It's only you that turns away. And so we do systematically learn these lessons where we go off on our own headstrong direction, and eventually over time we get the backlash, we get the proof, we get the understanding of why that thing isn't necessarily beneficial, and pretty soon it's not that we lose free will, it's just we learn to choose the life-affirming alive path rather than the things that, you know, feel like rebellion or angst or whatever it is. So divine feminines, on this journey, we systematically get dead ends with ways of trying out the connection, trying our free will out for size, basically. And systematically, we learn that going with the flow really is where it's at for all involved. Beautiful. So what are the masculines to know about this? Climbing up and out of karma. So it does go hand in hand. Divine masculines, obviously, your divine feminine is learning how to steer their ship, their free will this way. So just keep working your karma, because they can't let go of you and feel safe if you've still got your karma muddling. Both in this dynamic, there's like a barbells of energy. Divine feminines needing to come into peace, that's connected to your karma. Divine masculines coming towards divine feminines, that's connected to your karma. So when you clear this, masculine can come forward. Divine masculines, when you clear your karma, divine feminine can chill out. So it's really that beautiful. Okay, what is the manifestation the divine feminines are aware of? Okay, adventure, south, walking away from things that don't feel emotionally good, that feel tipsy, and things that are going south, basically. But there's an adventure here. Divine feminines are understanding that everything that they've experienced is sort of a cosmic adventure on this earth school. And so divine feminines, you're learning to go with the flow. This is a combination that is like, don't sweat the small stuff. You're catching stride with this. So you are manifesting more of an adventurous way to look at this whole journey than a heartbroken victim story. Divine feminines, there are lots of ways to do this, lots of ways to interpret reality. So just know that things that are meant will stand the test of time. They really will. And all of it is this experience. In many ways, this incarnation is the whole Garden of Eden story. We do come here to learn free will. We do come here to find our way back to the garden, so to speak, when we can choose love, wake up to what love is, and then authentically choose it. We wouldn't have unconditional love if it wasn't complete free will to do so, to choose it. And so we have to go into this illusion of separation here from all that is, from the divine love, in order to remember it and have the ecstatic awakening back into choosing love in our own right, because that's the cosmic bliss. I wanted to say cosmic orgasm. That is like the be-all end-all, when we can come back into the remembrance of love, having been in this illusion that we were apart from it, and then we see it in everything all around. That's living in a state of ecstasy, grace, splendor. Come back into that reality. That's the greatest thing. And to be able to wake up other people, to influence, to remind people that that's the nature of reality here. It's like living the impossible dream, to be in this world, on this planet, and remember your God self. That is the Holy Grail. And so these connections sometimes crack us open to that. Once you pop into this kind of way of looking at reality, though, there are so much wealth of connection and experience and tenderness to be had, because you see the truth of this dimension. You see the truth of yourself. So remember, that's within your control divine feminines to be in this temptation in the world, in the illusion, or to access this holy grail, and live there. So that's the manifestation that the divine feminines are kind of working on. Divine masculines, what can we see? Keep finding your own spiritual truth in the midst of all of this. Just keep your sights on that cosmic humor, that aha moments, the freedom acts in your own right. That is what this is all about. We are spirit having a physical experience temporarily. What are the actions the feminines are taking? Wheel of Fortune and the soul, passion. So there are some opportunities coming in for you divine feminines that are going to remind you of the soul stuff. So this is the adventurous part of life that's coming in, but something that's going to be divinely guided is going to bless your journey, bless your life, bless your purpose, bless your soul, and remind you of the magic of life. Right now you might feel at a crossroads, and this is my card of choosing love over fear. There are two masculines here, so for some that actually might be playing out with two counterparts. And it's about really sinking into which one is actually the direction you want to go in. I'm feeling though that neither of them are fully an option for you. Your heart won't allow you to settle for one of them, and the other one won't allow you fully into their life. So this leaves only your decision here, divine feminines, and for you to connect with source and to open to what is for you while this stuff settles out. Because as you align with this higher guidance, with this life path in your own right, these things just fall into place and they self-organize, and they show you in no uncertain terms what's a fit and what isn't a fit. If you can allow that to be whatever it ends up being or needs to be in the moment, then your priorities will be in the right place, and you will have a more light, less burdened go of it. Divine masculines. Okay, the heartache. So right now, divine masculines, you might actually be feeling your divine feminine in a tug of war energetically between letting go of a soulmate, a karmic partner, another lover. You might be feeling, because this is third party, you might be having those things come up for you in your own situation right now. Everybody needs to be reminded to keep focused on the true prize, the destined path, the mission, the truly fulfilling things in life. And so divine masculine, you are also feeling your counterpart empathically with your compassion, your high heart. You are connected as one soul. We are empathically connected. And so really be honest, is this your third party situation that you need to be real about? Is this authentically what you're picking up from your counterpart? It's like a radio station, we can tune into any coordinates and kind of pick up on them. So it's not in your mind, divine masculines, that you're feeling all of this. So love has got this, everybody has got this. Just keep believing in that. I'm actually being told to pull a support card because this is quite a tricky situation energy there. Crystal capacitor, storage, time, release, and focused force. So it sometimes comes into a bottleneck when energies converge. And I'm hearing when you are ripe to understand the lessons in your own situation, the mirror of your divine counterpart's situation becomes clearer. So if you aren't seeing how what you're picking up on from your counterpart side of the energy, really turn it on yourself and ask, are you practicing what you would suggest to your counterpart? It all kind of comes to a contraction, a bottleneck at times, this focused force, and we do kind of get down to this mirrored thing where we see so clearly what our other what our person is experiencing, and we have the blessed opportunity to really turn that lens on ourselves in those moments. And so it does feel like a lot of pressure when we're on the verge of that. So divine masculines, just know that it's come to a head basically like this so that you can make some moves, but it's been building and things don't have to play out immediately. It can be over time, like a time release, but it is only available for that when we see clearly. So don't forget to turn those things on yourself. What is the biggest challenge for the feminines? Joy amidst the burden. We get joy and burden here. This is the karma, the last slog. Your joy is coming, divine feminines, but it might be a burden right now because you're caught between joy and a hard place. And so it really is about continuing to choose joy as much as you can, and knowing that's not selfish. That is not shuffling responsibility and avoiding. If you do it right, you can have both, and it can sustain. This is the not all or nothing energy. So this is where you, divine feminines, can fill up your own cup as you continue to clear the burden. And for many divine feminines, as you're coming out of old codependent ways of living, ways of being that we're entrapping and off track, it might feel selfish, it might feel inappropriate to you at times to go towards your joy when you've got all this responsibility or things pulling on you. Ask yourself honestly if it's appropriate or not to go towards your joy, and if it's not a rebellion, if it does actually work, if you are just becoming somebody who actually loves yourself enough to carve out that joy. The world needs that. Don't shuff your responsibilities, but if you're not, go towards your joy. You don't have to emotionally be in withholding or scarcity to clean up burden. It will actually help you put wind in your sails to know that you've got this joy available while cleaning up burden. So what can we see? King of Cups, the emotion, the overwhelming emotion. You've got to channel it and move the energy somewhere, divine feminine. So you don't have to withhold joy while you're going through difficult things. And it might be counterintuitive because you might feel energetically drained and feel like, when do I get to the fun part? When can I do the things that make me happy? Do something each day that's just for you, so that this emotion doesn't give you energetic whiplash, hitting brick walls all the time because of your own doing, divine feminines. What can we see, divine masculines, for this? Yeah, this is scarcity. So be observant of where, divine masculines, you've been in that energy too, because it takes two. If you want your divine feminine to be more joyful and ease the burden, is there anything that you can apply to your own life that way? Can you open up and be a little bit more compassionate as well? I'm getting, divine masculines, that your hearts have been a little bit closed to just how much your divine feminines have been doing and burdened by, and still how they show you such a light. And so, divine masculines, you might want to open up a little bit with encouragement, either energetically or in the 3D. You've got this kind of thing, because the divine feminines are right at that place where something like that might feel incredibly energizing, and not in a codependent way, but because you love your counterpart. Why not? And that does keep the energy flowing. So it is appropriate to, encourage others. And you would do that for anyone. So don't be stingy, divine masculines. Take it in a non-attached way, that your encouragement doesn't have to mean that you're all of a sudden roped into a commitment. Remember, be a friend, divine masculines. What is the solution for this walking the edge of burden and joy, divine feminines? Yes, the breath of life. Remember, for every inhale there's an exhale, for every burden there's a joy. And carve out that tightrope act, divine feminines, in only the way your heart knows. What can we see? Yeah, be curious about this. Really be curious, do you do that? Are you walking that edge? Because that is the edge of sovereignty that you're going to bring deeper and deeper into intimate union. It's going to be beautiful. This is a foundation. These are the types of things the twin journey is helping us establish as a foundation. This is the character building that this journey really does focus on. It's unconditional love of self and other, and that middle path. And that goes for not just our twin, but our karmic situations, the demands of life, our own personal joy. We have to advocate for that. So you are learning, divine feminines, in an impeccable way how to advocate for your right to party in all the best ways, of course. But that is, you can do the fun things. You don't have to withhold it because you think it will help you get through the burden more quickly or something like that. This is the breath of life. There is an inhale and an exhale. Take a deep breath and allow deeply. Be receptive deeply to what is for you, and take accountability deeply for what you can take responsibility for. But remember, fill up your bucket so that it's this ebb and flow. And become better at doing that. It's not selfish. I'm going to repeat, it's not selfish. And divine masculines, yeah, if you're watching this message was for you as well. This enlightenment, this judgment is where we are shown something about karma. And if you are entangled in a twin flame connection, you share karma with your divine feminine. So exactly the same things that you could point your finger and say, my divine feminine isn't doing da 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 da. Again, what is that mirroring to you? Go into it. Don't be afraid to be curious to see how that same tendency in maybe different ways plays out for you, and really use it as the mirror, as the instructive tool that it can be. You might be pleasantly surprised at how much compassion comes out, though, I'm being told. What are the energies? How are the energies moving? Page of Pentacles and companionship, animals. Oh, okay, so this is kindness and sweetness. So, like, I'm even seeing somebody stepping on a sidewalk and almost stepping on a grasshopper and then saving the grasshopper's life. Like, being conscious of all life around, of the kindness of strangers, like really having your eyes open. This is the pay it forward energy. It feels like a more generous, compassionate, aware, head up, eyes open, smiles on kind of presence in the world. Peace, alert, alive, present. There's a little bit more of that, and even into the other animal queendom realm to that extent, where all sentient life matters, plants, all of it, that we're back into the garden, back into this lushness. For the divine feminines, okay, we get being a leader, showing, demonstrating, not holding up in sorrow that people don't understand, and see you for who you are. This is your connection to source, and doing all things because you know better, because you know what you are, what you do. You see you know your heart. This is you falling in love with your own heart out in the world, and knowing that, somebody could be watching you that you never understand, and you are changing their life just by being you. And the world needs that light. This is the light in the world, and you don't need that recognition. You just need to know that you are doing it because that is the better feeling option on your heart. This is impeccability, divine feminines, divine masculines, and it is about your connection to source. It's about your connection to self, and it's also about understanding that other people's opinions, the people around you that haven't done the work, they don't have a right to tell you if you're a good person or not. They don't have a right to tell you what choices you should make. This is really showing, divine counterparts, that we are moving into being the ones that do know for ourselves. And this is not out of stubborn pride. You also know how much work you've done to get yourself here and that you're not in rebellion anymore. We did feel into some of those rebellion energies earlier in the reading, and this is saying if you truly know your heart's alignment and you're not in those lower vibrational rebellious energies, go forward and be in that joy, be in that purity, in the righteousness that experiences pleasure to the max, that experiences life and this dimension with all its splendor. That does not need to feel boring or limited. That's actually incredibly alive, and it is the way. It is the way. Okay, what are the masculines needing to see about this? So divine masculines, this is going to show you who your true, authentic, alive counterpart is with more and more certainty, and allow you to see how wonderful life can be, that it's not limited, that there is one sort of pathway through, there is this partnership that it is extraordinary, and it's so simple and basic and grounded so that it can be unlimited. This is the rooting of true foundation and long-term commitment energy in the best sense of the word. Is what I can see here. Okay, let's get one message from each counterpart. What are the divine masculines feeling for the divine feminines? You are wrong and listen to your heart. Wow, I literally heard that they are finally standing up, divine feminines, to the people, places, and things around them that they have feared would be against this connection, and they're listening to their own darn heart. Bravo, divine masculines. Amazing. What can we see for the divine feminines to the divine masculines? We get, I think we should see other people and wait, other people in the reverse. So divine feminines, understand that it's not whether you see other people or not, or whether they see other people or not. There has been a waiting on this journey, and no matter if they've experienced other people or not, it has been beneficial, the pace of this thing, that it hasn't really been about the other people or not. It's about the lessons, it's about the dynamics, it's about the tempering of the soul. And that's what the weight is. The 7 is a divine rest number. And so divine feminines are really wanting to say they understand it's not about karmic partners on either side. It's all about the experience of life, and it's been worth the wait, because if we don't go through that, we never learn. And as frustrating as it is, and as much as our hearts crack open because of it, it's all been necessary to get out of all of the pretense and the suffering in the worldly relationship templates. And then light, and I want to get you drunk. So divine feminines are also going back and forth between seeing this in a righteous way and seeing this as a temptation. It's that burden and joy thing. And so divine feminines are exhausted, I just heard, and this is where your light can bring a little bit more depth to some of the struggle here, that it's not just a temptation or a dysfunctional pull to you, divine masculines. Your divine feminine needs to know right now that you are completely authentically inspired by them, is what I'm getting. So divine masculines, if you're watching, reach out to your divine counterpart potentially. That is going to go a long way right now on a soul level. Many blessings, everyone. Bye for now.